These are the times that try men's souls. The government is corrupt. The political system is dysfunctional. Both political parties have not only failed us, they have betrayed us. We cannot trust them with our futures. We, the people, must take back control ourselves. Welcome to the revolution, and welcome to Revolution Television. Thank you for joining us here at AEA4USA.com, headquarters for the Second American Revolution, AR2. My name is Lawrence Hebron. And now for our revolutionary look at the news. Headline: Hillary joins the race. Some not so friendly advice for Democrats and Republicans. Hillary Clinton has officially joined the pack of presidential hopefuls for the 2016 election. Well, no surprise there. She has long been presumed to be the next anointed one by the Democratic Party. More on that in a moment. The likely standard bearer for the Republicans is harder to divine. We have Cruz and Paul and Rubio charging into the race with a herd of other sheep meandering toward the starting line as well. Well, as the election season heats up, I'd like to offer some not so friendly advice to our two major parties. Not that it will matter. And I'd like to begin with a question. Is this the best you can come up with? Have you completely thrown in the towel? Can't you conceive a single creative idea or come up with a truly unique leader for fixing the system that you collectively broke? Okay, so that's three questions, but I think you can guess where I'm going with all of this. First, for you retread Republicans, we need another Bush about as much as the Amazon rainforest. And as for you other guys, you all sound like liberal Democrats of the 1960s. If I may remind you, that's when things really started to fall apart in the United States. There used to be a choice between the parties. Now, the only option is between the Democrats and the Democrats light. Oh, what's that you say? Cruz, Paul, Rubio, etc. They're talking tough and offering a real alternative, huh? No, they're not. They're all talking about minimally reforming a diseased system. And when you merely reform a diseased system, you're still sick. You're just going to die a couple of months later. And if you think I'm being too hard on the grand old party, just look back to the last couple of times the Republicans controlled the White House and the Congress. What did they accomplish? Did they do anything to heal the nation's woes and prevent the mess we're in? Well, obviously not, because we're still in the mess. So what hope could you possibly have that this new batch of retreads will be any different? More of the same will only get us more of the same. And as for you disappointing Democrats, Hillary Clinton, really? Is that the best you can come up with? How desperate, or is it cynical, are you? Do you really think you can sell this empty dress to the American people? And what does that say about your opinion of them? The two most important attributes of a good leader are competence and character. And dear Hillary is grossly deficient in both areas. Think about it. What has she done? Notice my question is not what has she been, but what has she done? She's been a governor's wife, a president's wife, a United States senator, largely because she was a governor's wife and a president's wife, and a secretary of state, largely because a deal was struck to help unite various elements of the party behind Barack Obama. But what has she done? Your silence is deafening. Oh, sure, she's done some things, but nothing you would want to remember, because you definitely would not want to elect somebody based on those things. Maybe seek an indictment, but not a nomination. And then comes the matter of character. Ouch. This woman has amassed such an abysmal record throughout her life that anyone else with such a resume would have a hard time getting a job as a cashier at a 99-cent store. She was dismissed from the House Judiciary Committee during the Watergate investigation, reportedly for integrity problems. Then came Whitewater, more integrity problems. Tolerating Bill's serial adultery, more integrity problems. Benghazi, more integrity problems. Emailgate, even more integrity problems. Well, I could go on, but just to name a few, I think you get the picture. She has not established a reputation for integrity, nor wisdom, nor pretty much any other honorable personal trait. And the main thing that she seems to have learned throughout the years is how to be a better crook. From the Watergate investigation, she learned to burn the tapes. And from the Whitewater investigation, she learned to keep sensitive records in private hands, namely her own. She applied both these lessons most recently in the destruction of the emails she sent while Secretary of State. Why would anyone seriously consider her as a candidate for the highest office in the land? Has the Obama presidency so lowered the bar that Hillary can actually look good? Tweedledee, Tweedledum. Seems to be the best that the Democrats and Republicans can come up with for us Americans. And actually, I can understand that. What is harder to understand is why you Americans keep voting for what they're shoveling. It's time to do something different. It's time for the Second American Revolution, AR2. Well, Ian, George Washington warned us about the dangers of the party system. Do you think his nightmare has come true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe what Washington foresaw is exactly what we have. We are left with a system where you get to vote for Comrade A or Comrade B, who is chosen for you by the party. And now, to make it even worse, we are in a scenario where if we try to vote for a third candidate, someone outside of one of the two traditional political parties, we are almost guaranteeing that the opposition, the worst of your choices, is going to be the one that is selected. Now, if this is not what Washington was concerned about, I would really like to know what he was thinking that could be worse. We are in a scenario now where we have no selection at all in who the president is going to be. Yeah, you get to vote for Comrade A or Comrade B. That's it. Now, you think that you have a primary selection process? Think again. Those decisions are made for you long before you ever get to the ballot box. Think about it. Who chooses who you get to vote for? The parties gin up this selection of bad choices that we get every couple of years, and we're supposed to smile about it. Now, we fought the first American Revolution because of a monarchical system that chose who our anointed leader would be. The Bushes and the Clintons seem to think that we are in a scenario where they get to pass this crown back and forth between themselves and put themselves go through this coronation process where they get to appoint one of themselves as our anointed leader. Wrong. If this is not a reason to say enough is enough, if this is not enough of a reason for you to draw the line in the sand and do something about it, I don't know what is. And again, as you said, Lawrence, is this the best you can do? Or are you dishing out what will benefit you and keep you in power? And when I say you, I'm talking about the political parties, because it is all about power. It's about staying in power, capturing power, regaining power, It has nothing to do with what is good for the American people and America as a whole. That's where we're at.
You talk about the Comrade A and Comrade B basically being our choice, and I'm sure some listeners are probably thinking, oh, good grief, you're being a bit extreme on that. Really? Let me give you an example of something. I sat in on a meeting a little over a year ago. Let's see. Yeah, a little over a year ago at a Republican group in Southern California. I won't identify them, but it was very near a beach community. And the leader of this group was a guy that has been campaign manager for a Republican candidate for a couple of different offices. And he commented on the problem that the Republican Party has. He says, one of the things that the Democrats do so well, and one of the reasons why they keep beating us, is that they settle on a candidate. The party machine settles on a candidate, which they then present to the people. So they don't have a choice. Here it is. The Republicans keep beating themselves up by offering a whole range of candidates and frittering away all their support and bloodying each other before you get to the main event. He says, what we need to do is we need to be more like the Democrats. We need to settle on who our candidate is going to be and then present it to the people. Does that sound like your ideal of America? And yet that is exactly what this leader said, and I've heard it elsewhere too. I was at another Republican meeting some time ago where the guy who is the current chairman of the California Republican Party was campaigning for that office. And one of the things that he said was that his basic message was, you know what? The Democrats are doing a better job of raising funds than we are. They're doing a better job of getting money than we are. What we need to do is become more like them so we can win. It's not about principles anymore. It's not about ideals. It's just about winning. Just as you said, Ian, it's about power. Well, the political system has created a whole range of problems, not just the Comrade A, Comrade B scenario, but think about it. One of the big issues now is voter fraud, and it is rampant. I could tell you stories there, but we'll keep the show a little bit shorter, and I'll spare you some of those. But where I have personally been involved in witnessing some of the voter fraud that's taking place, but it's rampant. But think about it. You could really not have a system where voter fraud would be very influential if you did not have the party system. Why? Because it takes a long time to develop all the circumstances for voter fraud to take place. You need some longevity. If you had a single candidate who was not associated with a party, it would take him years and years to develop the system where voter fraud would be significant. And by that time, he's either been voted out or he's bought the farm. He's gone. But political parties, like vampires, live a long time. And one of the reasons why voter fraud is so significant now is because they have had a long time to cultivate the field and get things ready. Another problem is that the political party system makes it easier for special interests and lobbyists to have such a great influence. Think about it. If we didn't have political parties and you wanted to go influence members of Congress, you'd have to knock on hundreds and hundreds of doors, talking to individual members of the House of Representatives, talking to individual senators. But now you only have to knock on two doors, the Republican Party headquarters and the Democratic Party headquarters. You grease their palms, you make them an offer, and then they do the work for you. They carry the water for you. So there's a lot of problems with the party system. However, conventional wisdom acknowledges these failings, but it argues that there is really no alternative, that a third party, which is still part of the party system, or no parties at all would be impractical, unrealistic, and unattainable in modern America. So they say that whereas, sure, there are some warts, what else are you going to do? It's unrealistic to think that anything else is possible or could possibly work. Ian, what do you have to say to that argument?
Oh, well, I think you've got it right on the head. I mean, when you look at the system that we have, it's ripe for graft. And like you said, all you have to do is figure out which palms to grease, and you're in your way. Why do you think most of these people become lobbyists after they leave public office? Because they know where to go in the halls, and they know what palms to grease. They know who is susceptible to being influenced. Look at this whole Hillary situation that we've been talking about. One of her biggest things is taking all of these donations for her foundation from all these foreign countries and foreign leaders. You know, we have very, very specific laws about influence from outsiders into our country, but yet the parties seem to find a way to allow it in. I have some kind of mixed feelings over lobbyists, though. There are good lobbyists and there are bad lobbyists. There are lobbyists that are looking out solely for the the fortunes of companies. There are lobbyists that are looking solely at the fortunes of maintaining power, like we've been talking about. There are also lobbyists that are involved in things like the NRA, gun rights. Without the work of the NRA and some of the newer organizations that have come on in recent decades, in the last decade, we would have no Second Amendment left. So I have some mixed feelings about that, but yet at the same time, this is the reason that we're in this mess that we're in. Now, the folks like Washington and Jefferson, when they looked at the potentials for our political system, they were looking to try to set up a scenario where these people that were elected to office were looking out for one thing, and that was the American people and what was right and wrong for our country. They never intended for Congress, these people in the Senate and the House, these Congress critters, as I like to call them, to be in these positions for 30, 40 years. We have a term limit on the U.S. president for a reason, but yet we have no term limits on these people in Congress. And they go up there and they set up these scenarios where these parties are literally unbeatable. And think about this for a moment. Let's say that you are a upstart grassroots candidate in your local town. You've gone through some of the local election process. You've got some good ideas and you have some people that would like to put you in a higher office. Well, guess what? Forget about it. Unless you go grease the palms of the political party above you, you will never see the light of day. And in recent elections, John McCain was even a subject of that. He spoke out of turn. He started talking about limiting campaign finance reform. His party shut him down and put him out of the running. He lost the backing of the party. He lost the dollar behind the party, and he was shut down. Now, all he does is kowtow to the party. That's when I lost respect for the man. I respected him as a POW, as someone who did what was right. All he's done now is proven to me that he's just one of the others that are just part of the problem. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that this is a huge source of our problems that we have in the country today.
Well, as I said, conventional wisdom holds that you can't do without the party system. You just won't be able to succeed. But isn't it the conventional wisdom that got us into this mess? So why should we keep listening to it? Maybe we need to do something different. Now think about this. Think about the greatest names in our history, the greatest names in our political history. Pretty much all of them come from that revolutionary constitutional period, don't they? Yeah. Names like Washington and Jefferson and Adams and another Adams and Hancock and Henry and Franklin, and the list just goes on and on. Now think about it. What political parties did they have to help them and put them in office? We're talking about people when the political parties did not exist or were just in their infancy, when they had minimal influence. And yet we were able to select the greatest names in our history to run this country at that time. You see, without the political parties, what would candidates talk about? They'd talk about what they believe in. They'd talk about their principles. They'd talk about what's important to them. They'd talk about what they would do when they're on the job. Good. That's exactly what they should be talking about. We should be making a decision based on those issues, not whether there is an R or a D in parentheses after their name. Without the parties, we the people would look at the men and women who are running for office and their ideals, and that's all we should be thinking about. You see, under a system of political parties, or without the system of political parties, the cream will rise to the top, just as it did in the beginning part of our history. Under the political party system, the crumbs rise to the top. Well, that's our revolutionary look at the news. And now a couple of quotations to go along with the topic. There is nothing which I dread so much as a division of the republic into two great parties, each arranged under its leaders and concerting measures in opposition to each other. This, in my humble apprehension, is to be dreaded as the greatest political evil under our Constitution. John Adams. And a second one. There is no act of treachery or meanness of which a political party is not capable. For in politics, there is no honor. Benjamin Disraeli. Well, remember, the American Eagle Alliance is working to change all of this. We see the problems. We realize that the conventional wisdom has not worked, and that if we just keep doing more of the same, we're going to keep getting more of the same. And we, the people, deserve better than that. We need to do something different. We need to do something radically different. And that's why the American Eagle Alliance is leading the charge in fighting the Second American Revolution, AR2. Now, among other things, we conduct Patriot Training Days that will teach you and your organization how to fight and win the Second American Revolution in less time than it took to win the first, without taking over the White House, the Congress, the Supreme Court, or any constitutional amendments. In 1776, we the people rocked the world. It's time to do it again. So call us, 909-913-7878. Again, 909-913-7878. And schedule an event for the Patriot organizations in your area. Or if you'd like to have me come and discuss the ideas in Solutions, Guidebook for Rebuilding America the Great, and AR2, Handbook for the Second American Revolution, you can call that same number, 909-913-7878. Remember, you can always go to aea4usa.com and see past recorded episodes, as well as other materials of interest to the Patriot community. That's AEA, the number 4USA.com. And those books that I mentioned, Solutions and AR2, they're available at various places, but Amazon's probably the easiest to get it and the cheapest. Just search for it under my last name, Hebron, Hebron. Well, thanks again for listening to us. Tell your friends they can listen to archived episodes of Revolution Television on aea4usa.com. Now, let's get cracking, Patriots. We've got a country to save.